So it's 9 o'clock. I'm minding my business. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man young, wealthy, and wise. That's a saying I try to follow these days. Doing my thing, watching a movie. Son just went to bed, almost asleep. And I seen this. Woo, baby. Caused Tesla stock to fall about 3% when I seen the article. At one point, you were down almost 4%. Tesla stock's currently down about 2.5%. Look at this. I actually just spent a whopping $10 on the Wall Street Journal that I'll probably forget to cancel and get charged like $2,000 over the course of my lifetime. Nonetheless, neither here or there. Look at this. Tesla board opened search for a CEO to succeed Elon Musk. Woo, baby. Isn't that a good title? I mean, wow. So considering I just spent a whopping $10 on this, we're going to read it. Okay. Is it something that you need to worry about? Is it something that is going to tank Tesla stock? Is it a nothing burger? A nothing event? We'll get into that here in this video. It starts off by saying about a month ago, so pretty recently, with Tesla stock sinking and some investors irritated about Elon Musk's White House focus, Tesla's board got serious about looking for Musk's successor. Board members reached out to several executive search firms to work on a formal process for finding Tesla's next chief executive, according to people familiar with the discussions. Tensions had been mounting at the company. Sales and profits were deteriorating rapidly. Musk was spending much of his time in Washington. Around that time, Tesla's board met with Musk for an update. Board members told him he needed to spend more time on Tesla, according to people familiar with the meeting, and he needed to say so publicly. Musk didn't push back. Tesla has been on a losing streak in the months since Musk. Its visionary chief executive began spending much of his time helping President Trump slash federal spending. Last week, after the company said its first quarter profit had plunged 71%, Musk told investors he would soon pivot back to his job at Tesla. Quote, starting next month, he said on a conference call about earnings, I'll be allocating far more of my time to Tesla. The board narrowed its focus to a major search firm, according to people familiar with the discussions. The current status of the succession planning couldn't be determined, but it is also unclear if Musk himself, a Tesla board member, was aware of the effort or if his pledge to spend more time at Tesla has affected succession planning. Musk didn't respond to requests for comment. So they basically said, like, hey, Elon, is this still a thing that's going on? Is there, some kind of succession thing still happening? And Musk didn't respond. Maybe they reached out to him, maybe not. We don't really know. During a cabinet meeting on Wednesday, Trump thanked Musk for his government work. Quote, you know you're invited to stay as long as you want, Trump said. Quote, I guess he wants to get back home to his cars. Any change at the top would mark a major moment for Tesla. Musk has run the electric vehicle maker for nearly 20 years, though he stepped aside as board chairman in 2018. Musk has been deeply involved in all of his businesses, even those in which other executives handle day-to-day management. The 8-person Tesla board has been looking to add an independent director, according to people familiar with the process. Some directors, including Tesla co-founder J.B. Strobel, have been meeting with major investors to reassure them the company is in good hands. Musk's detour into government came at a difficult time for his biggest company. Sales of Tesla's electric cars fell in 2024, the first annual decline in more than a decade. The company slashed prices, which ate into profit margins. Its high-profile Cybertruck, derided for its strange looks, became the butt of jokes by late-night comics, which is, again, kind of the point, right? For the Cybertruck. Not to get off topic here, but the point is you're supposed to see that thing and love it or hate it immediately. But one thing you cannot disagree with, It is unique. There's nothing else like it out on the road. Now, this little chart they have here is when Musk was appointed to lead Doge. Stock sold off a little bit. Tesla went from $328 down to $311, hit a high, December 17th of $480 or so. And then right here was the executive order that established Doge. And that was definitely seen as the negative catalyst for Tesla, which dropped the stock from $425 per share down to some of the lows in the 215s or so that we briefly hit during some of the panic we've seen in the last couple of weeks. Nonetheless, Elon being at Doge has not helped Tesla. That's the point. It says Musk's close ties with Trump tarnished Tesla's brand for some consumers. Making matters worse, the president's tariffs have complicated Tesla's business in China, one of its biggest car markets. It is the biggest car market for Tesla. It's not one of the biggest. It is the biggest for Tesla. Tesla for a year now has sold more cars in China every quarter than America, than Canada, than all of Europe put together. It is the largest market. It is the most important market for Tesla. But continuing on, and a U.S. supply chain that relies heavily on vendors in Mexico and Canada. Musk's proximity to the president proved no help on that front. He told investors last week he would, quote, continue to advocate for lower tariffs rather than higher tariffs, but that's all I can do. The decision, he said, was the president's. After Trump's victory last year, Tesla shares surged at first, reflecting optimism that Musk's close ties to the president would yield benefits for his business. Tesla's market value hit a record high of $1.5 trillion in December. Since then, it has fallen to about $900 billion. Early last year, after some 2 decades of running Tesla, Musk confided to someone close to him in late-night texts that he was frustrated to still be working nonstop at the company, especially after a Delaware judge had struck down his multi-billion-dollar pay package. Wow, isn't that crazy? You feel like discouraged working at a company you don't make any money for, that doesn't pay you, that you're just kind of there. Come on, that sounds like every person in the world would feel that same way. So to kind of spin that, not a great take, Wall Street Journal. It says, last spring, he told that person that he no longer wanted to be CEO of Tesla. I find that hard to believe. But that he was worried that no one could replace him atop the company and sell the vision that Tesla isn't just an automaker, but the future of robotics and automation as well. That's kind of the bottom line here. Nobody else can. Nobody. And I mean nobody else can. If you want to put Jensen in there, maybe I'm okay with that. Okay? Track record speaks for itself, But you can't put anyone else in there. Nobody can run Tesla the way that Elon does. Unless it is Jensen Huang, NVIDIA's CEO, which, yeah, good luck selling that to Jensen, that is. It's a negative for Tesla if Elon were to step away. And again, there's nobody that can replace him besides someone like a Jensen. Okay. Musk has complained both in public and private that despite owning roughly 13% of the company, he has been working without pay for the last 7 years. The Tesla board recently formed a special compensation committee to address CEO compensation. Again, this is going to get worked out. It's only a matter of time. Okay. Elon's going to get paid. So that, just understand that. It says Musk has enormous demands on his time. Tesla is only one of 5 businesses he oversees. At Tesla alone, more than 20 executives report directly to him, according to an internal document. Since the election, he has spent most of his time in Washington, with weekends at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. When he met with Tesla employees and board members, he often did so remotely. Some Tesla employees said that the first time they had heard from Musk in months was at an all-hands meeting in March, streamed to all ex-users, where he tried to reassure employees and persuade them not to sell their shares. Quote, if you read the news, it feels like Armageddon, he told them. I can't walk past the TV without seeing a Tesla on fire, he said, referring to vandalism at Tesla showrooms and charging stations. There are times when there are rocky moments. a little bit of stormy weather, but I'm here to tell you the future is bright and exciting. What I'm saying is hang on to your stock. It goes on to say, Musk spent more than $250 million on Trump's re-election effort. He took the stage with Trump at rallies and even spent a chunk of time in Pennsylvania after identifying it as a state that Trump couldn't afford to lose. On election night, he was in the ballroom at Mar-a-Lago. The next morning, November 6th, he flew out of Palm Beach to attend a Tesla board meeting in Austin. Soon he was back in Mar-a-Lago, sitting in on meetings with world leaders and helping to vet candidates for cabinet positions. Musk was given the job of running the Department of Government Efficiency, which eventually was staffed with government outsiders that included investors and employees from his companies. His status as a special government employee enables him to work at the White House for 130 days each year without filing the financial disclosure forms required for regular employees. Some employees said they were happy at first that Musk was busy in DC because his tendency to micromanage at Tesla could be a distraction. Goes on to say, late last November, Tesla executive Mike Snyder tried to reassure his team that Musk's political tilt wouldn't distract him from the business. Quote, "It's obviously been a turbulent and emotional season. I acknowledge that," he said, according to a recording of the meeting reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Quote, "I'd rather have Elon next to Trump than an enemy of Trump." Probably a good way of putting it. Snyder, whose team works on energy storage and solar power, told his team that Musk continued to answer texts. Quote, "People concerned that Elon is not engaged or interested. I can assure you that's not true," he said. By early this year, it was clear to some inside the company that Musk's political foray was becoming a business liability. Tesla was losing brand appeal in markets such as California and Germany, and drivers had begun putting bumper stickers on their Teslas, distancing themselves from Musk's politics. Tesla also was losing ground in China to homegrown rivals such as BYD. Elijah Gilfenbaum, a Tesla executive in California, told his team that it was getting more challenging to hire and retain talent. According to one person who was present, he told them Tesla would be better off if Musk resigned. That was unlikely to happen, he told them, and employees needed to reconcile the boss's politics with the company's mission. He advised them to try to compartmentalize and just keep going. After two newspapers reported on Gilfenbaum's remarks, Gilfenbaum was forced out of Tesla, the person said. Tesla hasn't commented on the matter. Tesla executives have said the company is in a transition period. Its popular Model 3 car and Model Y crossover drove a first wave of growth. Now it is pivoting to artificial intelligence and robotics, heralded by new vehicles like its Cybercab, a gold two-seater sedan with no steering wheels or pedals, and by Optimus, a humanoid robot central to Musk's vision for the company. Musk has posited that robotics could transform Tesla into a $30 trillion company, many times its current valuation. Meanwhile, though, its core EV business is faltering, and its newest vehicle, the Cybertruck, hasn't provided much of a boost. Musk pitched the Cybertruck, unveiled in 2019, as a futuristic, bulletproof alternative to old-school pickups like Ford's F-150. The first versions to reach customers in late 2023 were priced around $100,000, 2.5 times the price Musk first announced. I mean, that's kind of like, really? With all of the... Dude, the value of money from 2019 to today, way different, okay, just from an inflation perspective. Now, kind of skipping ahead a little bit, it says, while many investors held out hope that Tesla would release a new low-cost model to invigorate sales in 2025, the company instead has focused on refreshing its existing lineup and lowering prices by changing out expensive parts like the material used on its seats. In March, it unveiled a refresh of the Model Y, its best-selling car in April. Tesla released a less expensive version of the Cybertruck priced at $70,000. Musk and his lieutenants have redoubled their efforts to convince investors that Tesla's long-planned autonomous vehicles are just around the corner. Tesla plans to open up its ride-hailing app to the public by the end of June, enabling customers in Austin, Texas, to take unsupervised robotaxi rides in Model Ys. That would put the company in competition with existing robotaxi services like Waymo and Amazon's Zoox, which honestly I've never heard of them. In February, Tesla's chief finance officer warned some investors that Tesla would have a rough quarter. In recent meetings with investors, okay, this is the last of the article, board members told them that despite Musk's government work, he was involved in Tesla meetings remotely. One board member told people that sometimes Musk wasn't as well prepared and that he needed to be briefed more about what is happening at Tesla. The board members continued to say they believe Musk's proximity to Trump and the White House would benefit the company over the long term. Last week's dismal earnings report showed quarterly revenue had declined 9%, including a 20% drop in automotive revenue after sales fell in important markets such as California, China, and Germany. Musk told investors the blowback against Tesla stemmed from his work at Doge. Quote, "The real reason for the protest, the actual reason is those receiving the waste and fraud wish to continue receiving it," he said. "That is the real thing that's going on here, obviously." After announcing that he would spend less time in Washington and more time at Tesla, Musk defended the company's performance and expressed optimism about its future. Quote, "We're not on the ragged edge of death," he said. "Not even close." So Tesla stock right now is down about 1.5% overnight, and honestly, I mean, you were up almost 1% before this article came out at literally like exactly 9 p.m. And it dropped the stock almost 4%. Here's the deal. I think even the thought of Elon potentially getting kicked out of Tesla is scary, at least initially, especially for the algorithms. The reality is we just had earnings and Elon committed to staying at Tesla, to focusing more time on Tesla. Could that change? Of course. But as of now, there's no reason to think that that has changed since last week's earnings. Okay? And yeah, maybe sure, for a moment there was a new search going on for a new CEO at Tesla. But how do you get someone that's better than Musk? You can't. Tesla's stock would probably fall at least $100 if Elon was booted out of Tesla. At least. Maybe more than that. Maybe there would be some initial, like, Tesla can do well because of the politics, not being as closely involved with Tesla anymore. Unfortunately, the damage is done from a political, kind of viewpoint. If Elon stepped away today, you would still have the same political problems at Tesla, right? The same crap would continue. It's kind of like if you lie to someone, you lie to your girlfriend, right? And she catches you in the lie, and then next time you're actually truthful, she doesn't believe you, okay? Kind of like that. Like, you're already guilty. There's nothing you can do. You're screwed, dude. Just accept your fate, okay? It's going to take some time to work itself out. Well, that's kind of the situation you would be in regardless. And again, unless you're getting like a Jensen at Tesla, like, there's no replacing Elon. So I'm personally not worried about this. I do think coming maybe when more volume comes into markets like tomorrow morning, you could get a larger reaction to this. You could see more of a downside reaction, at least initially off of this. Futures are up nicely last I checked. Obviously, in this volatile market, things can change pretty quick. But pre-market futures here, Dow is up 0.5%, S&P futures up 1%, NASDAQ futures up 1.34%. What a great time overall to, drop an article like that when the markets are doing very well in overnight trading. But nonetheless, I don't think it's something to worry about. I think Elon made his choice and told you that choice on the earnings call. So I kind of think this is old news, but I wouldn't be surprised if the stock reacts to it kind of aggressively. So keep that in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comment section. It could be a little bit of a hangover, so we'll see. Have a great rest of your day or night, and I will see you in the next one.